Welcome back to Soccerwise, everyone. This is where we do our soccer.com USMNT coverage. This is where we do our previews. And we live for at least one more show as the U.S. men's national team knocked off Bosnia and Herzegovina 2-0. And as the Bosnian national team account posted, it's called soccer now. We appreciate them for being so magnanimous in defeat. And now the U.S. moves on to Belgium. Tintin, you're not good on Dijkman anymore. You don't belong here. This is war for 3 or 4 more days against a country I've never really thought about before, and I don't really care. And to get our preview started alongside me is the one and only Mr. Matt Doyle. I've had some fun with these shows, getting to dig in a little bit deeper. We also have a daily show every day, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time, where we talk World Cup in general. It's been an unbelievable tournament. And Michele said on our show a day or two ago, maybe outside of France, maybe Spain now with the performance against Austria, the U.S. has played as well as anyone in this tournament.
I think in terms of maximizing what you can be with your talent and your game model and your history, I think U.S. has probably punched I don't want to say punched above their weight, but they've maximized it in a way that I don't think even France have. I would say that France is not. They're probably the favorites, but they're not overwhelming relative to their talent level. Whereas it feels like the U.S., everything over the course of those 4 games, and I'm including the Turkey game because we played our backups, and there aren't a lot of teams in the world who could have played as well against Turkey starters as those backups did. Right? Yeah. You couldn't put out your second 11. It's been fun to see. The question is, will it scale against better teams? Once you get into, we're facing one of the top 15 teams in the world, which by definition, you're in the round of 16, you're facing one of the top 15 teams in the world, will it work as well as it did against Australia, Turkey, Paraguay, and, of course, Bosnia and Herzegovina? And I don't know the answer to that question. I'm starting to feel nerves that the answer might not be something that we like.
So we'll be live every day, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time, including on Monday, July 6th, with a bit of a pregame action experience. And then we'll be live postgame, which is our soccer.com live postgame shows. We appreciate soccer.com sponsoring this. It is your spot to score all your official U.S. national team gear, jerseys, anything else. And if you put in kickback when you purchase something, you get a free Goal Club membership. It is the longest running and largest soccer loyalty program in the country, providing members with a lifetime of savings and rewards on their favorite soccer gear. I have also plugged this a couple times, but we are working in partnership with American Outlaws. If you're looking for a place to watch this game and you want to be amongst friends, aka other people who will live and die with every single kick of this game, if you're new to things, search American Outlaws and find a local chapter. Over 200 plus chapters across the country. They all have home bars where they watch games consistently. You can watch non-U.S. games with your local American Outlaws chapter, or you can go and watch the USA game. And of course, if you are planning on being in Seattle, you can look up where their pregame festivities will be. This was against Australia in Seattle, maybe the greatest atmosphere in U.S. men's soccer history. I have a feeling it's going to get reduxed again on Monday.
Be knocked down to number 2, and hopefully we feel that same way at the end of the 90 minutes or 120 as we do at the start.
Do you want to do a country roads thing, or you feel good?
I feel good. How do you feel? Like, has the song grown on you? Because I know you're kind of a hater.
I'm not a hater.
Mm-hmm. Well, you're more of a Freebird guy.
Freebird, yeah. I think it has the taste of a couple executives who are 50 plus years old in an office picking the song post-game for the U.S. men's national team in 2026.
Okay.
But I like first of all, I like the idea of leaning into American sport culture. And I don't mind that it's kind of like a college football thing. I think maybe there's some NFL connections as well. I think the Chiefs do it. Huh. Yeah, I know there's a famous video in Germany of them singing Country Road.
Pat Mahomes is a soccer guy, though. So.
Yeah, he is. Yeah. So I don't mind that. Like, this has always been one of my things with the, I believe, it's the worst chant ever, blah, blah, blah. It's like, there's sport culture here. Just take it and move it to soccer rather than chanting Arsenal, Arsenal, Arsenal in a fake accent at a USMNT game. So I don't mind that part at all, and I like that it's singable. I like that it's a known song. I like that it's fun. You could pick other ones. I don't have like an exact one in my head right now.
I think our guy Jeff Ruder had an article on how it came to be. I think for the Guardian, or at least the feeling in the stands at that Seattle game about what it was. Highly recommend reading that. The fact that it's singable, the fact that the players are very clearly buying in.
Yeah.
I mean, you saw Weston McKennie after that game.
And here's the thing about sports teams' traditions. When you win, they work.
Yeah.
Everyone loves it when you win. Why not us? Country road, it doesn't freaking matter.
Freebird.
Well, it does not matter. When you win, people think it's cool, and then they resonate with it, and the connection point to it becomes positive memories.
And the other aspect of this is like it could have been Imagine Dragons or something like that. So we were spared.
Yeah. I would have just done Ja Rule New York, which I think would have resonated nationally the same way this does. Although it is a West Virginia song, so it is specific. Do you want to talk about the Berkshires?
Cool. I already had my rant on that.
You've already had your rant on it. And obviously,
David likes to spread misinformation. It's fine.
Obviously, it was a special atmosphere in San Francisco. I think you felt it on TV. I watched our friend
Kalen Carr was there.
I literally watched Kalen Carr's Instagram, though.
Yeah.
Watching him move with the camera, a.k.a. you could tell he was genuinely excited and couldn't contain it.
Well, he loves to be around the fans.
And he was inside of it. He was deep in his happy place. And you could feel the energy. You could hear the noise in the stadium when the first goal went in. You could hear it, of course, when Malik Tillman's goal goes in. And I think coming out of that game and having the conversations I've had with people, there is something happening. Yeah. The thing we were hoping for is happening. I think it's partially credit to the way the U.S. has done it, the way they have played. I was asked on a local show that I did on Monday, how is this the biggest win in U.S. history, the Bosnia game? And it's hard to say it is because they've gone past the round of 16. But when you add the way they did it, and then the amount of people who saw it, because it is now the record viewed soccer game in English language in American history, that's where you start to get into that territory where you're winning fans over. This is not a counterattacking 2-1 win off a set piece. This is like what Greg Berhalter talked about 5 years ago, changing the perception of American soccer.
Yeah, and Mauricio Pochettino is using the superstructure that Greg Berhalter built in terms of prioritizing shape and rest defense. And what's happened within that is that the guys like Weston McKennie and Christian Pulisic and Tyler Adams and Anthony and on down the list have all matured, and they're guys who are in their prime and they understand what winning soccer is. All of them have won at a good level in their club career at this point, and it's coalescing at the exact right time. And have a $50 million center forward to lead the line. There's no ceiling on it because that guy will definitely be leading the. Oh shit! Yeah.
And that's what we're going to talk about in just a moment. Now, if the U.S. beats Belgium, which is fairly, I think, easily known a top 12 squad over the last 10 plus years. And they do so in the round of 16, which would equal their furthest drive into a tournament in the modern era. And they do so in front of the amount of people, which I think this number will be even higher. Monday night is a really good TV window.
Combined viewing for the win over Bosnia and Herzegovina between English and Spanish was higher than the NBA Finals, which was the highest rated NBA Finals since 1998. It was higher than Game 7 of the World Series, which was the highest rated World Series of the 21st century. It is an insane cultural phenomenon now that's happening. And yeah, to your point, Monday night is a everybody in front of the TV night.
And if they win, it will be the biggest win in the program's history, because it will equal everything they've done from a competitive point of view. It will then also amplified by the crowd, the energy, the engagement.
I would have it top 3. It's still going to be hard to beat, the shot heard around the world, Paul Caligiuri's goal in '89, and then obviously the Dos Cicero over Mexico.
Yeah, this one will be bigger.
I think it's in the same tier. Well, you know me, I'm a big tiers guy.
We'll be live.
Yeah.
On Monday night.
We will.
To talk about it. I've already drank half the beer in the fridge, so we'll have to replenish a little bit.
He's had way more than half.
Before we get into it. Let's talk about Belgium. I've got a Belgian hat here that I got from soccer.com. It's very stylish. Good price.
Get that off your head.
Will never wear it again. Out of here, Belgium. You disrespect yourself. You disrespect me and everyone around us. Here is a quote for you. I wrote this one down because I felt that I should keep it with me, and I wrote it somewhere that I have no idea where I put it.
Well done.
Therefore, I won't be able to find
This
it.
is what we call pro-level prep.
It is pro-level prep. It was, here it is, Rudy Garcia's post-game press conference. So Belgium trailed 2-0 in the 83rd minute.
And they were terrible.
They come back, they tie 2-2, they end up winning in extra time on penalty kicks. When asked, Rudy Garcia, what got them back into the game, Rudy Garcia's quote was, Senegal lost their structure at the end of the match. They wanted to hold the score at 0-2, which was a big mistake in my opinion. That gave us confidence because at 2-1, then the match changed. When your coach reasoning for you getting back into the game starts with the other team's performance, you have now found the Belgian national team.
Yeah, one correction. They won on a late penalty kick. They didn't win on penalty kicks. But that speaks to the point that Belgium became the better team for the final 5 minutes of the game and then the 30 minutes of extra time. And that is all they needed. If you look at the underlying numbers, if you look at the momentum chart for the first 85 minutes of that game, it was Senegal, especially the first half, dominant, to the point where Rudy Garcia took off Jeremy Doku and Kevin De Bruyne, who were supposed to be Belgium's two best players. They were awful on the day. I was still shocked when those guys got taken out. And then it felt like Senegal just let their level drop because of that, and they stopped exerting control on the game, just trying to absorb. And it's a lesson we've seen time and again in this World Cup. If you let a team with talented attacking players get comfortable just getting into the final third time and time again, you're going to put yourself in a lot of trouble. Now, sometimes you get saved by a hair follicle, as happened to Portugal yesterday, but sometimes you don't, as happened to Senegal.
The two things that changed the most in this game for Belgium as they got their way back into it. So the first was Belgium came out with absolutely zero energy. They never closed down Senegal. They allowed Senegal to get into attacking third spaces. Anytime Senegal upped their tempo, they found someone wide open on the edge of the box to play through. But the two big things from a stats point of view that are very easy to pull out is they tried to play through Senegal's pressure the entire first half. And they did that because their talent base, Kevin De Bruyne, is to feet. And so everyone wants to play in possession. Everyone wants to play to feet. They didn't want to play it over the top, and they didn't want to play into outlets because they're not connected when they do that. Kevin De Bruyne gets pulled out in the 56th minute. That starts to change for them. This goes into whether he can come back into the team. The other is this. They forced 30 turnovers in the attacking half of the field. All 30 of them came in the second half. So they never applied pressure in the entire first half, and then the entire second half it completely shifted.
I hadn't realized that. That is an insane stat. And that's with Lukaku up top. And I've always loved Lukaku, but he's not a pressing maniac as a center forward. But for whatever reason, God, if I was Senegalese, I would just be feeling miserable about that.
I think they absolutely are. So, and this goes into, I think, what we've seen the whole tournament. This is a team that trailed in the opening 25 minutes against Egypt and then could never up the tempo to create enough chances to win the game. Lukaku comes off the bench, forces an own goal. That gets them a draw. Then they go out there, they start Lukaku against Iran, and they play to, I wouldn't say toothless 0-0 because Iran was putting every ounce of blood on the field and they were putting everything into it. But again, Belgium never has moments where they up the tempo, where they change the form of attack, where they do things that make a defense uncomfortable and potentially make themselves uncomfortable. They keep the game contained. They get a 0-0. And then against New Zealand in the final game, they finally break out. New Zealand is not a high-level World Cup team.
They're struck and
they had to win that game.
Yeah, so they came out playing on the front foot, and that's not New Zealand's strong suit in any situation, but especially against a top 15 teams in the world. And all of this that we've seen from Belgium, other than that New Zealand game, is complete opposite of what we saw from Belgium 3 months ago when they drilled the U.S. 5-2 in that friendly. And the first 25 minutes of that one were pretty even, but then during the hydration break, the pausa de hydration. I don't know if that's right.
It's definitely not.
Okay. They changed their sort of platform for distribution, and what they did in that game was actually drop the fullbacks deeper, draw the U.S. wingers up, and then make it harder to close down because of the distance. And that allowed them to hit these big right to left switches that ended up on the foot of Doku. And Tim Weah was
still seeing.
Yeah, I mean, and there aren't a lot of wide defenders in the world who handle Doku in 1v1 situations.
So let's jump into that friendly. So the U.S. played Belgium. They played at Mercedes-Benz on March 28th. Starting lineup for the U.S. Matt Turner in goal. A back four of Timothy Weah, Mark McKenzie, Tim Ream, and Jedi. Two holding midfielders in Johnny and Tanner Tessman, who are not at this tournament. In front of them was Tillman, Weston McKennie, and Pulisic with Balogun up top. Basically, the spine is completely different from what you will see in this game. It is one, two, three, four. Four of the back five pieces in that spine will not be starting in this game or are not on this roster, as well as the formation shift, which is Alex Freeman now playing right center back to some extent, right back, and a little bit more cover in there. And then Chris Richards, of course, being in the game and not Mark McKenzie.
So the big thing about the U.S. in that game was in both those friendlies in March, Mauricio Pochettino was experimenting with how we get to the 3-2-4-1 in possession. And what he settled on last autumn and what he has used almost exclusively in the World Cup thus far is you start with the back four with Alex Freeman at right back and Jedi Robinson at left back. And then if we approach midfield stripe with possession, Freeman slides in to become a third center back while Ream slides to left center back and Chris Richards obviously in the middle, and Jedi pushes up and starts combining with Christian Pulisic. He becomes an attacker. That always gives the U.S. a structure of three at the back, and then you have a double pivot in central midfield, though with the way the game has played out, Tyler Adams has often been a single pivot and let Malik Tillman go out and combine. In the friendly against Belgium, instead of having the right center back slide in and form the three that way, he was dropping Tanner Tessman into the middle of the back line to initiate possession sequences and not even waiting for possession at the midfield stripe to do that. It was like the way we would initiate possession sequences, and it did not work. And that is why Tanner Tessman is watching this tournament from home. He just did not fit the ball progression needs of the U.S. team. And it created gaps between the back line and the midfield, gaps that the U.S. never showed any ability to fix. I think there was a lesson to be learned, and he did.
Yeah.
Mauricio Pochettino.
Haven't done that since.
And so I think there's actually limited use in going through the tape of this one and saying, well, here's how the U.S. is going to play, because honestly, it's not going to look the same.
One of the things that I think maybe not as relevant, so Belgium finished on 48% possession in that game. I assume they'll be over 50% in the game coming. It will be the first time, because I'm going to throw away the Turkey game. This is the first game the U.S. is preparing for at the World Cup, where the assumption is the game states are not, we have more of the ball and the other team drops deep. What does that change inside this U.S. group?
So I don't know if I agree with that. I think
it's the in preparing for this game. It's the closest they have to consider.
Yeah, fair. It's not going to be like playing
Paraguay,
Bosnia, or Paraguay, or Australia. It's going to be much more to playing Turkey, where there's individual talent that could annihilate you, but maybe not the greatest sort of collective mindset and everybody on the same page. I don't know how to answer your question, because I think the U.S. goes into this saying, let's keep doing what we've been doing, and let's make it work against this team that is more talented than any of the teams we've faced thus far, but certainly not invulnerable. We saw what Senegal did to them, right? The U.S. is a better team than Senegal and has a better defensive structure when they lose the ball, and there will be moments where they lose the ball and have to defend in transition. The U.S. have been incredible at that so far in this World Cup. I don't think you change anything.
So one of the big factors in that last game for Belgium was Ismail Sarr. Yeah. His movement, his ability to hold center backs, but then also be a threat over the top where he scores the second goal. Flo Balogun is suspended. We're not going to do the red card thing. He's suspended. He won't be unsuspended. There's no world in which he will be. There's this insane thing out there. I think Christina Uncle put out there of like, if the U.S. were to file a complaint and it's considered frivolous, there could be more punishment. It's like, well, why do you have a process to file complaints then if you can't get it overturned and it's considered frivolous if you do it and it shouldn't be there? I don't even understand why that would exist. We're not going to do that conversation. Flo Balogun's not going to play in this game. We've already accepted that. What do they lose? How do they fill it? And how does it change the way this team works?
So the three best center forwards in this tournament so far.
Kylian Mbappe.
Yeah. Erling Haaland.
Okay. I thought you were going to say Arathabal and just go down your Golden Boot team.
Harry Kane. Yeah. Those are the three best. Flo Balogun might be number 4. Mm-hmm. His ability to stretch the field, his ability to combine either when facing goal or when checking back to hold the ball up, even when being strangled by Australian defenders. His ability to threaten off the ball, the unselfishness of his movement, everything he's done this tournament is like, this guy is borderline world class as a number 9 and might get there with the right move this summer to the right team. Ricardo Pepi is a good goal scorer, but he has not shown the ability to be much else beyond that. Haji Wright, we basically haven't seen. I think, he got 15 minutes against Paraguay? I don't even remember.
I don't think he's played.
Yeah. You lose that guy. Like, that is... He's arguably been our best player. I would say Weston McKennie's been our best player, but, there's obviously an argument for Folarin Balogun. It is tough to, in particular, to lose the center forward who you can make that difficult pass to with a defender on his back, because that provides a level of security that allows you to be more daring both on and off the ball. Whereas if you try to, we have not seen Ricardo Pepi show the ability to do that in this tournament. And then that can end up making the central midfield movement stagnant. And if that becomes stagnant, then suddenly you're just in a pure skill competition against Belgium. And that's where it could get ugly.
Haji Wright played 1 minute against Australia. That's all he's played so far at this World Cup. That, to me, by the way, what you mentioned with Pepi, if he's sitting in the hotel room thinking, what do I have to do? How do I replicate this? How do I go into this game and be a factor? The two things I would love to see him focus on doing at his best is layoffs and hold-up play and finishing inside the 6. Don't go into the channel. You're not Flo Balogun. You're not going to change the space by curling off center backs and pulling guys wide. If he can be effective in inviting pressure and playing into his feet, Pulisic and Weston McKennie, off of that, they can get into the channels. So that's the part of Flo Balogun's game that we have lost, and that's okay.
That's what Pepi did well when he and Pulisic started together against Senegal in that friendly, which feels like it was 2 years ago now, but was the start of this excellent run leading into the World Cup. I thought his understanding of how to combine with Pulisic was really, really high level. At the same time, that version of Senegal was an absolute mess, and even the worst version of Belgium is not going to be as vulnerable as that Senegal team were.
But that, to me, if I'm Ricardo Pepi, that's my goal.
Yeah.
My goal is if I come in and I am a factor and I'm clean with the ball at my feet and they can play into me and I can keep possession or find layoffs, that's the home run.
But even in that one, he was dropping deep into the channel.
Which is fine,
in order to release Pulisic into space and behind. Which
Pulisic has looked really good over the last month, understanding that when he picks up the ball at pace to drive at guys. He opened up the Bosnia game, and everything with him has been these curled runs coming from deep into the forward positions and picking up the ball. And then what he does at high speed is what he does best, and that's what puts him into world-class categories, is his shooting or his decision-making or his distribution when he's at 100 miles per hour. And when it comes from a standstill, it's a little bit worse. Pepi does give a little bit of an option for a Dest or a Jedi on earlier balls or other crosses because of his size. And the one thing for Pepi is just, I've said over and over, since he was 14, best finisher I've seen coming out of the U.S. system. He had the huge goals against Honduras under Greg Berhalter that almost got him to the World Cup that year. In the end, it did get the U.S. to the World Cup. He has struggled in big moments otherwise with the U.S., He has not with PSV Eindhoven over the last year. He has put the ball in the back of the net, and he's done it at big times in his career. He's going to get a chance. If he buries that chance, then it doesn't, most of what else I'm saying doesn't really matter. And he just has to find that spot mentally where he's able to gather himself and finish the way he's capable.
Yeah, I hope he does find it. I would say based upon his PSV performance, he's really comfortable and understands how to add value when his team is on the front foot.
Yep.
When his team is dominating the game, he's a type of forward who is really good and really smart at finding those gaps.
He pulls off. He finds 2 feet away.
Yep.
He pulls back at the right time. He waits to let the game pass.
What he hasn't done is when a game is relatively even or when his team is up against it, he's not the kind of forward that Balogun has looked like at times in this tournament, who can be an outlet and be a solution to alleviating pressure or even breaking it down entirely. And look, if he starts, he's going to be asked to do that at times.
Yeah. Otherwise, the assumption is everyone else stays the same.
It's got to be, right?
Yeah. I mean, if everyone's healthy, which we have no reports that everyone isn't. Tillman obviously came out with the bloody sock.
That blood was not painted on, unlike other famous bloody socks.
It's not. So the assumption is he'll be available once again. Yeah. The free kick, phenomenal moment. Felt very Diego Forlan-esque.
You're bouncing.
I know. I'm told I'm not allowed to, but I'm still excited about that game. I'm still excited about this team. I've been asked about them over and over and over again. And the thing I keep saying is they have put themselves in a place where if they play their best soccer, they will win.
Yeah.
And we've not been able to say that a ton about U.S. teams against some of the best teams in the world. And on top of that, they've built trust over the last 5 to 7 games that they are going to play at a level. Now, Belgium has special talent. There's a chance they play a great game and they lose. It could happen. But I feel like we're fairly safely in mental territory where we can expect a strong performance from that group. And that's exciting.
I would be more surprised if they came out and were passive and underwhelmed than I would be if they came out and played really, really good soccer. And that's just a huge compliment to the players and to Mauricio Pochettino and his staff.
For this Belgian team, Leandro Trossard and Yuri Tillemans did not play in that friendly in March. They are obviously going to be a part of this group. They are the central piece of this team. I think right now the group is built around Tillemans. He was the one in that Senegal game. It's obvious from the goals, but just from the movement. He was the one who was trying to make runs through the lines. He's the one who's trying to turn upfield. He's the one trying to create the game. And Trossard is a true chance creator. He's not a natural winger, so he doesn't go out wide and isolate 1v1. He wants to float around the box, and he wants to clip balls in, and he wants to find little
clever
half
touches
spaces.
And
I mean, that's going to be Tyler Adams' job then, to follow him when he comes into his space.
Yeah, and that is one of the things that even a not great version of Belgium is really good at, is popping your defensive midfielder out of zone 14 and opening that up. And Belgium could be terrible for 65 minutes. And in the 66th, Trossard collects Adams, drags him out somewhere, 2 touches, and suddenly it's De Bruyne, zone 14 with multiple options. And we've seen that a lot over the past dozen years. Do that. Probably picking the ball out of the back of the net, and it's probably Lukaku, the one who's going to score it.
40 minutes played in Serie A this season for Romelu Lukaku with Napoli. So he has only started one of the World Cup games. It was the second game against Iran. As I said, he came off the bench. He forced the own goal. It was like the first minute he was in the game against Egypt. He ends up having a goal and an assist against New Zealand and a goal against Senegal. Does he start this game?
He's been way more effective than Cataler, but I don't know how many minutes he's good for.
Yeah.
And it's Seattle, so it's not like you're going to be frying in Miami, but it's still outdoors in the summer. It's probably not going to be it's not going to feel like Brussels, I don't know. I would be surprised if he had more than an hour in him,
right?
Especially after going 75 minutes against Senegal. And I think if I was the head coach, I would want that hour to be 60th minute onwards, because he has proved to be a game changer in significant ways.
This game will be 5 p.m. local time. For reference, today, the weather is expected to be 74 degrees at 5 p.m. local time. For Monday, the high is 79. Today, the high is 74. Yeah. So it'll be around 75 degrees when this game kicks off. Most likely it will be in shadow as well. I don't think it'll be direct sun at that point. this is that fascinating point of a tournament like this now with extra time and how common it's become in some of these tight games where if a guy has a minutes limit, it's almost easier to start them because if you bring them off the bench and it goes through the 120, then they're also you're asking them to be a shooter. You don't know what the energy levels are. It's almost safer to start them. But part of his effect, I think, has been change of pace.
Yeah.
So now starters come out with an hour to prepare for you. They come out, they get their feet settled. As he gets his feet settled, is he less effective in the opening 15, 20 minutes? And if that's the case, do you lose that curveball if you're Rudy Garcia, which has been your one big game changer over the course of the tournament? We were sitting together watching the Belgium Senegal game. Rudy Garcia taking Doku and Kevin De Bruyne.
We were crushing him.
We felt like was him saying deuces.
Yeah.
We lost. This is the end of my job. These guys suck.
Yeah.
I'm going to embarrass them.
I'm French. Screw you, Belgium.
And I'm going to burn my way out the door, and I hope you fire me so I get the full payout, and then I can go work in the Middle East or wherever I want to over the next year or two. They then come back to win. Haven't seen any major comments come out and from De Bruyne or Doku about it, about being benched, anything like that. We haven't seen it from Rudy Garcia either. And I think as you watch the game, De Bruyne and Doku at least were good soldiers there. They were engaged with the bench. They all ran to the corner to celebrate the goals. They did everything right to at least keep the door open that they could be a starter once again.
Doku and De Bruyne, I think, are going to start because everybody in the world knows they could walk out onto this field and be the best player on the field for 90 minutes. Either one of them, and to a level where they could single-handedly win Belgium the game. Now, obviously, that does not mean they are invulnerable to being subbed out. Rudy Garcia sent a message and won the game in large part because of it. But I think both of these guys will start. And it's also a little bit, it makes me a little bit nervous because Doku, we all thought was going to be one of the 5 or 6 best players in this tournament, and he's been terrible. Guys that good aren't terrible for that long.
Yeah.
He's due.
Yeah.
That's the math, David.
If he has 2 good games from here on out, he will finish as one of the great performers of this World Cup because they'd be in a semifinal.
Nobody remembers that Zidane was kind of shit in '98, but he had a really good final game, and everybody remembers that.
Well, he played with one of the best goal scorers in the world in Lilian Thuram at the time. So
we all remember that he was the best player for France in that tournament, of
exactly. On the U.S. side of things, I brought this up in the post-game show towards the end because I was on a high for about an hour before then. The 2 negatives of the game were Balogun's red card and the example to me that Poch didn't really trust a lot of the roster.
Yeah.
He only made 2 substitutions up until the 87th or at the 87th minute, his first subs, including after the red card. Now, the red card, because it's Balogun, makes it fairly simple. You don't need to fill in a center back. You're not pulling in another center mid. He pushed Pulisic up top for a bit as a false 9-ish, dropping in to help defend and kept everything else the same as you would. Now, I think there's an argument that the way game states have played out over the 3 games those guys have played, most of these guys have played, plus the fact that they could rest in the 3rd game, that I would assume the medical metrics were pretty high still because they've had the ball the whole time. Yeah. So they haven't done a ton of running.
But they have.
Yes.
The U.S. are up.
Oh, yeah, fair. They're number 1.
Yeah, they're the number 1 team in terms of amount of running per game. But as you said, Pulisic had only played a half, and the rest of the guys had only, other than Weston McKennie, who is, of course, the number 1 runner, has only played 2 of the 3 games. So anyway.
I just culturally, I find it tough now that you come into, you can't make a deep tournament run with 12 guys. It's physically impossible.
Yeah.
So he is going to need to lean on some other players in this game.
I mean, by definition, we're going to see a new center forward. It's probably going to be Pepi, but he has to be ready to bring Haji right in.
Pepi's been his first sub.
Right.
So now that's off the table.
Right.
So who do you think he leans on? What are sort of the levers as a game plays out, assuming this is a tight game, whether the U.S. is up, down, or tied? What are the levers now that Pochettino looks at?
I mean, Gio Reyna is still obviously one of them.
Yeah.
Seb Berhalter coming in specifically for set piece delivery and just energy. If we're not making those runs out of central midfield, look, Seb Berhalter is limited physically in certain ways. Like, I do not want to see him defending on the wing again because he doesn't swivel his hips particularly well in 1v1 situations. But he plays with absolute fearlessness, bordering on recklessness off the ball. And sometimes a team needs that energy. And I mean, we've seen it.
Yeah.
He's been a force magnifier in this tournament at times because of it. I still trust Tim Weah. I know he was terrible against Turkey on the left. Play him on the. He was fine against Paraguay on the right when he came in. So I think that's one as well. And then obviously we've talked about the crowd. Getting that crowd involved. You just bring on Christian Roldan at the 60th minute, man. Like,
stop.
It will measure on the Richter scale. Are you kidding me? If he finally gets to make his World Cup debut in Seattle?
Your dream is to work for a wrestling company. You get to write the script of each game. And all of a sudden is that Christian's music? And he comes out with a steel chair.
I will just say, I have zero doubt that if Christian Roldan got into this game, he would add value for the U.S.
Okay. I have zero doubt he won't play in this game. And if he does, I think it'll be unfortunate because it's probably a bad situation with Tyler Adams. For the guys who have been in the group consistently, so everyone else, we saw him stick with Dest late in that game, which is like from the world we came from of the silly red card against Trinidad and Tobago and some of the moments he's had, he's been fully engaged and locked in. Weston McKennie's obviously been one of the best players. Malik Tillman. It's hard. Like, as I watch that Bosnia game, you're like, well, who do you take out? Like, we really are in a space where it's like everyone you trust, everyone has played to the peak of their performance. There wasn't a clear, this guy comes out and now you bring in a sub.
Yeah.
Pretty impressive.
I mean, it's great. That's why we've been sitting here giddy as hell for the past 3 weeks, because you don't get to watch just ask Belgium fans, you don't get to watch your team maximize their potential all that often. And the U.S. have done that for 6 games now, if you include the friendlies. And it makes me very, very happy to have been experiencing this.
2 big notes to watch when the lineups come out an hour and 20 minutes before this game, as they have at the World Cup. Nathaniel Ngoy, who got the red card against Iran in the second game. I was about to say Switzerland.
And I was like, nope.
And then was working through the national teams. He could be a starting center back in place of Michele, 23 years old versus 33 years old. So there's a little bit of a difference in pace. And Onana has not started every game. He came off the bench late. And even though Belgium had already turned the pace, they're in the same place. They all eat chocolate. Get out of my face. Even though they'd already changed the pace, he is a tempo setter. He is not a line breaker.
Yeah.
He is a tempo setter. And I think he makes De Bruyne and Tielemans' life easier. And it would surprise me if he doesn't get a start in this game alongside those two guys.
Tielemans.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's probably a good thing and a bad thing for Belgium that it's not clear what their 11 should be or will be coming into this game.
Yeah. Anything else that you're thinking about as you go into this one?
Set pieces. The U.S. obviously have been really, really good on set pieces. Games get tighter the further you go into
Teams
the knockout
get scared
rounds.
to lose more.
I would honestly start Haji Wright. I would. I don't think that's going to happen. Like you said, we haven't 1 minute against Australia. I would start Haji Wright because the U.S. is going to get chances on restarts, and he's really, really good in the air. Not in the Batistuta style, going to score 3 goals off of his headers in every tournament, set piece headers in every tournament, but he wins the first ball, and that creates the scrum. And we have some guys who are pretty good in the scrum.
He was an on-again, off-again starter to close the year with Coventry. He got the injury, and then he never really locked down.
He was awesome before the injury, and then his final 8 games of the season, he missed, a month or so, and then he'd come back, final 8 games of the season. He only scored 1 goal and didn't look super fit.
So that's, I think, what holds him back. Because otherwise, I think he would have been on the field against Senegal to start the whole cycle and would have had a shot to hold things. The other pieces, he likes to go out into that left channel, which gives Pulisic the ability of what's happened with Balogun, where he can then come inside and find space. As we've said, Ricardo Pepi doesn't do that as well. And then Haji Wright is also a huge factor on set pieces, as Pepi can be as well. I think at some point you're hoping, can you get Richards a really good look and an opportunity? Obviously, Trusty got them versus Turkey. So there is a couple different tools in the bag for this coaching staff, different set piece styles that they've been able to use. Hasn't happened as much with the starting group. I thought it was bizarre. They went like low to the first man on multiple set pieces against Bosnia. It was the early one. I don't know if it was Tillman or Jedi who took it from the right side. I don't know what that is when you have Weston McKennie and all these guys who can go up and get it. I don't mind going short and resetting the play and trying to find a ball, but they did it 2 or 3 times early on, and then Tillman ends up scoring a free kick, so no one will talk about other set pieces otherwise, which is going to go down as one of the great goals in U.S. men's national team history, both for importance, value, as well as quality of the way he hit that and the way he put it together.
Let me ask you this. We're Friday, so we're 3 days away from the game. What is your confidence level?
As I said, I just feel fairly confident that they're going to come out and perform. It's the least confident I feel that will lead to a victory.
Okay.
Because Belgium is the best team that they have played. But one of the things that's a factor in this is you're getting this Belgium team in a round of 16. It is a pretty good draw. And I think all the hosts would have taken this. Canada against Morocco is a nightmare scenario for them because Morocco is just a great team. No. And I'm stoked about Mexico hosting England at the Azteca, but England is clearly a better team, even with the struggles they've had, than this Belgium team. Group G was the worst group at this tournament. Belgium got out on the final day, finally. They got annihilated against a Senegal team who were horrendous in the group stage, and then they get a miracle to get back there, and the miracle comes with internal strife of benching the greatest player in your country's history and the future face of your national team.
Yeah.
So they have to deal with all of that. All of that puts me in a space where I feel fairly good. I also am like, if not now, when?
Yeah.
If you don't go to a quarterfinal in this tournament
at home with all your guys in their prime, everybody relatively healthy,
and Belgium coming into this game the way it is, everyone has brought up 2014. The comparisons across the two, I don't know how the reference point gets there, besides the fact that they're the same two countries. There's very little similarities. But that, if the U.S. had played better, was still a game where Belgium was the better team, no matter what the U.S. did. The U.S. decided to play poorly, and Tim Howard played an incredible game. And Belgium has always struggled at big tournaments. Even in 2018, when they went far, they're down late against Japan, and Japan takes the worst free kick in the history of soccer, a low-driven ball to the near post that opens up the counterattack. And it is a group, it feels like, that is constantly thinking about the expectation to win. Yeah. And they are never going out and playing on their front foot freely that we're going to go take this game and these people are going to suffer against us. They've done that in qualifying. So clearly the home crowd helps a little bit, maybe the space around the game. But when they get into tournaments as this group, and the group is not the same anymore, it's really just Lukaku, De Bruyne, and Courtois that are...
Axel Witsel on the bench, cheering everybody on.
Yeah, does a good job with it, too. Hair looks great still. You feel that when you watch them. You feel that every time you watch them in these big tournament games. So all of that makes me feel pretty good, and at the same time, that could have been the pressure on the U.S., and it hasn't been.
Yeah.
They've played on the front foot. They've played aggressors. They've played free.
Joyful soccer.
And that's the most you can ask for at this point. The Balogun stuff is very worrying.
Yeah.
Because for all the quality they had in the first half against Bosnia, there's a chance they go in at 0-0.
Yeah.
Like, they were so good, and I think it was like 0.8 XG, which, whatever, XG, small sample size, is fine, but they didn't really create huge chances in that first half in a game that they dominated.
Yeah, until the last 5 minutes of that first half, and then they started to find a way through, and that was in large part thanks to Flo Balogun.
Yep.
It's tough. He's one of the 2 or 3 best players on the team. The way he's played in this World Cup, he's one of the 2 best players on the team. It's not easy for anybody in the world to replace a talent like that. The rest of the guys are going to have to play even better than they have been.
Talk to me about this. If Lukaku, let's say he starts.
Okay.
So it's the easiest to set it up of, like, in your head, it's Trossard, it's De Ketelaere, it's De Bruyne, or sorry, Doku, and Lukaku. Is it Chris Richards one-on-one the whole time? Do you pull in Ream and then let someone, Adams, kind of go and help Jedi a little bit? Like, because it's a clear physical 1v1 battle, but you also then restrict Richards' ability to move around.
Yeah, it's one of the it's the question that Lukaku's presence poses for every single center back or coach who's gone against him, and I think at this point, if you're the U.S., you have to trust Chris Richards to win that battle. Yeah. You cannot break your shape because the shape has been the strength of this team, and what you don't want to do is pull Alex Freeman in too close, so then suddenly Jeremy Doku has an extra 3 yards of space. And if he has that extra 3 yards of space, you're getting annihilated no matter what.
Yeah.
So it's like an existential threat to the U.S.'s continued presence at this World Cup. I think you solve it by trying to get on the ball even more and trying to make them suffer, because they don't suffer particularly well against the ball. And you use that comfortable possession to pull them around, to turn De Bruyne into a guy who has to chew up ground in central midfield, to turn Lukaku into a guy who's just chasing. And if you can do that, then you control part of the game that is under your control. Yeah. And the U.S. have been really good in that game state and phase of play so far in this tournament.
It'll be fascinating to see starting lineups for these two coaching staffs. I would say there's no chance Pulisic starts out the false nine, but it's Mauricio Pochettino.
You're bouncing again.
I know. It's Mauricio Pochettino. And we've seen it once before over the last few months. It would be very, very surprising for many reasons. The big one is the way everyone's performing, you keep everyone where they are. Take away the fact that Pulisic can't play the spot. It's the knock-on effect of you don't take him out of the role he's playing well at.
Yeah.
You don't take anyone out of the role
it's the number one
at.
thing that Pochettino's gotten right is that he's played his best players in their best spots, and because of that, everybody's comfortable and everybody's playing a style of soccer where they're not just performing well individually, but they're raising the levels of the guys around them.
Yeah. It's been fun to watch.
It's been awesome, dude.
It's been pretty special. We will be live every single day going into this game. So any news that comes out, we will hit it. Anything else big going on, we will talk about it. We will continue to preview it. We will have the live show Monday morning ahead of the game. We'll talk Canada and Mexico over the course of the weekend, and then we'll have the live post-game show, which was great on whatever night it was that they already played. Wednesday night last week, Thursday night, whatever it was.
It was Wednesday.
Okay. Having everyone in the chat with us, hanging out was so cool. Being able to do that is really, really special and something we've always wanted to do. So it's been a blast so far. Hopefully it continues. Either way, there will be a lot to talk about after this game. It will either be one of the biggest wins in U.S. men's national team history, and if it's a loss, there will be a lot to assess coming out of it, because there's already been a lot of really good, and I think we're going to have to put it in context as well as commiserate with everyone for whatever that reason
One of the things I've been impressed by, though, is the overall fan base seems more knowledgeable than I thought they would be. And you could see that in the stadium, the reaction to a lot of the defensive stuff after the red card. But overall, like, the discourse has been like, hey, the way you play matters, and the U.S. is playing really well because of X, Y, and Z. So I think our fan base is going to be able to handle it no matter what happens, David.
The other thing I was going to throw out there, which I mentioned a little bit on the live show or afterwards, and this is, again, one of those things that looks great when you're winning, but the way the U.S. players chased Balogun down the tunnel with him. It was Weah. It was Sebastian Berhalter. I don't remember who else.
Gio Reyna.
Was it Gio Reyna?
Yeah. Body language champion. Yeah. Gio Reyna.
And Pulisic, the way he helped him off the field. And then Tim Ream's comments after of like, everyone just went up to Flo and said, we got you.
Is Tim Ream dyeing his hair gold?
Did
you see that? I mean, I know he's blonde, but like it looked like orange gold.
No, he's a Viking. Come on, man. Right, that's what Charlotte does. It infuses you with he's actually sucking blood off interns at Bank of America who want to change the world from a financial point of view. That's the options that you get at a restaurant in the Charlotte, in the Charlotte, North Carolina area. But that's all, like, that's exactly what you want to hear. It's what you want to see. It feels very believable from the way this group's engaged with each other. Tyler Adams posting the videos of Weston singing country music on the bus, everyone engaged with it. Like, it just feels like a really good collective right now. It feels like the guys who should be leaders are. Like, Christian shouldn't be a vocal leader. That's not who he is. Yeah. That's made him more comfortable because Weston and Tyler and Tim Ream have stepped up. And I think it goes big to, we talked about dual national recruitment, what Flo Balogun wanted to sign up for, what Malik Tillman, another guy who doesn't want to be a vocal leader but wants to be a leader on the field, what he stepped into, why he wanted to be a part of this group.
You know who's noticed? Noah Kai Banks. He's all over their social media.
Is he?
So, yeah. And remember, I think there was a lot of bad feeling in certain parts of the fan base that he didn't choose to represent the U.S. at this tournament. Flo Balogun didn't choose to represent the U.S. in 2022.
Yeah.
That turned out okay.
Yeah. Serginho's still eating baguettes, doing his thing, cooking. out on the sideline. Okay. Jordan's got to get out of here. I'll get Doyle to a train at some point, and we'll be back. We'll do it all live every single day. We'll have the live post-game show.
Happy 250th, America.
July 4th as well. Oh, I have my USA SF Pride T-shirt to wear. I'll wear it on July 4th.
Yeah, you got a show tomorrow morning.
Big show.
I don't. I'm taking the day off.
We're going to have the Roots in studio live with us for Philadelphia celebration. Have a good one, Benjamin Franklin, and we'll talk to you again very, very soon.